I stood in my kitchen carefully arranging the roses in a crystal vase. 10 years of marriage deserved something special. So I prepared Derek's favorite meal, opened his favorite wine. My phone buzzed. The message read, "I am leaving you for good. Moving to Miami with Sydney, my 20-year-old babe. Already emptied our joint account, ha ha. Don't try to contact me." My hands trembled, but my voice remained steady when I replied, "Good luck." He had no idea what was coming next. If you are watching this story, drop a comment letting me know where you are from, and hit subscribe to join our community. My story might help you recognize the warning signs I missed. The first time I met Derek was during college orientation. I remember his infectious laugh, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled, and how he offered to show me around campus when I looked completely lost. We were both business majors with big dreams, me in accounting and him in sales management. We married right after graduation, swearing to build something meaningful together. Those early years were everything I had dreamed marriage could be. We rented a tiny apartment downtown where the radiator clanked all night and the neighbors argued too loudly, but it was ours. Every night we would sit at our second-hand dining table and talk about our days, our dreams, our future. We planned to buy a house by 30, start a family by 32, and travel to all 7 continents before 40. When Derek mentioned wanting to pursue his MBA, I supported him completely. I took on extra clients at the accounting firm where I worked, often staying until 9 or 10 at night balancing spreadsheets and preparing tax documents while he attended evening classes. I postponed my own career advancement opportunities, turning down a promotion that would have required additional certification courses. "Your turn will come," Derek promised. "Once I finish this degree, you can focus on your career while I support you." I believed him without question. Our hard work paid off when Derek landed a management position at a marketing firm. We celebrated by finally purchasing our first home, a charming 3-bedroom colonial in a good school district. I spent weekends painting walls and planting a garden while Derek networked with new colleagues. We talked about starting our family soon, even converted 1 bedroom into a potential nursery. The first 6 years of our marriage felt like watching a seed grow into something beautiful. We faced challenges together, my father passing away, Derek losing a job during company downsizing, a flooded basement that destroyed family photos. Through it all, we remained a team. Looking back, I should have noticed the subtle shifts that began about 4 years into our marriage. Initially, they were so small, Derek working later, checking his phone more frequently, becoming irritated when I asked about his day. I attributed it to work stress, to the pressure of his new position. I tried being more supportive, making sure the house was spotless, preparing elaborate meals, suggesting weekend getaways to help him relax. 6 months before that fateful text message, the changes became impossible to ignore. Derek started coming home past midnight several times a week, claiming client dinners ran late. His cologne smelled different. Sometimes he would shower as soon as he got home, even at 2 in the morning. Strange charges appeared on our credit card statement. Expensive restaurants I had never been to, a hotel charge in the city where we lived, jewelry from a store I had never heard of. When I tried discussing these changes, Derek turned the conversation around with frightening skill. "You are always working too," he would say. "Maybe if you were home more, I would be too. Or you have become so suspicious. This is not the woman I married." The accusations left me doubting myself, wondering if I was the problem in our marriage. I tried everything to save what we had built. I scheduled date nights, suggesting activities we used to enjoy together. I found a marriage counselor, but Derek attended just 1 session before declaring it a waste of time. I read relationship books, changed my hairstyle, bought new clothes, cooked his favorite meals, initiated intimacy. Nothing broke through the wall he had built between us. 2 weeks before our anniversary, I accidentally discovered a credit card statement with a $2,300 charge from a jewelry store. The receipt showed a diamond pendant with the engraving, "To S, forever yours." My heart dropped like a stone. My name is Eliza. There was no S in my family. No reason for such a gift to be for me. That same evening, I found an email confirmation for 2 airline tickets to Miami, departing the day after our anniversary. The tickets were in Derek's name, and someone named Sydney Williams. The email included a hotel reservation for a beachfront suite, with a king bed, champagne service, and rose petals. These were not business accommodations. Despite this evidence, some irrational part of me still hoped for an explanation. Perhaps a surprise trip he planned for us, using a fake name to throw me off. A business trip with a colleague that looked suspicious but was innocent. Even as I formulated these excuses, I knew they were lies. I told myself to avoid facing the baller. Truth. Still, I decided to proceed with our anniversary plans. 10 years deserved acknowledgement, even if only from my side. I purchased ingredients for his favorite meal steak with truffle butter, roasted rosemary potatoes, and chocolate soufflé. I bought a vintage bottle of Cabernet from the year we met. I even wrote a card expressing my hope for our next decade together, though my hand shook as I signed my name. The moment that text message appeared on my phone, time seemed to stop. I read it once, twice, 3 times, unable to process the casual cruelty. I am leaving you for good. Moving to Miami with Sydney, my 20-year-old babe. Already emptied our joint account, haha. Don't try to contact me. My legs gave out beneath me. I sank to the kitchen floor, still holding my phone, still staring at those words. The bottle of wine I had just opened tipped over, spilling red across the white tile like blood. I made no move to clean it up. For several minutes I could not breathe properly. My chest felt crushed under an invisible weight. The room spun around me. Somewhere in my mind a voice reminded me this was probably a panic attack. Another voice screamed this could not be happening. Not after 10 years. Not via text message. Not on our anniversary. When I could move again, I replied with 2 simple words. Good luck. Then I opened our banking app with trembling fingers. The account balance that should have shown $125,000, our entire savings, including my inheritance from my father, now displayed 0. No pending transactions. No recent transfers. Just emptied as casually as one might toss away an empty coffee cup. Within minutes, a notification showed a new message from Derek. This one contained a photo of him sitting on a beach with his arm around a young blonde woman. Both wore sunglasses and held tropical drinks. The caption read, "Upgraded my life. Don't wait up." The timestamp showed the photo was taken yesterday, meaning he had left before even sending the text. Something cold and hard formed in the center of my chest. I called his parents people I had considered family for a decade. His mother answered with a hesitant hello. When I asked if she knew where Derek was, her silence told me everything. "How long have you known?" I asked, my voice surprisingly steady. "About Sydney, about Miami, about all of it." 6 months, she admitted. "We thought it was just a phase. We told him to end it to work on his marriage." "Elizabeth, I am so sorry. My name is Eliza," I said and hung up. 10 years of family holidays, and she still got my name wrong. I spent the next hour searching social media until I found Sydney Williams. She was indeed 20 years old, a recent hire at Derek's company. Her profile showed dozens of recent photos with my husband dating back nearly 8 months. In one, they posed in front of a jewelry store, her wearing a diamond pendant that must have cost thousands. In another, they kissed in front of our favorite restaurant, the one where Derek had proposed to me. The captions made my stomach turn. "Finally found my forever," and "When you know you, just know." I called my best friend Amanda, who arrived at my house within 30 minutes carrying wine and ice cream. She held me while I finally broke down sobbing until my throat was raw and my eyes swollen. 10 years, I kept repeating. 10 years of my life to a man who could discard me in a text message. Amanda stayed the night sleeping beside me in the guest room, because I could not bear to enter the bedroom I had shared with Derek. We stayed up until 3 in the morning as I cycled through rage, despair, confusion, and numbness. At one point, I found our wedding album and started tearing out photos, eventually carrying the whole thing to the backyard fire pit. Amanda watched silently as I burned 10 years of memories, the flames illuminating, tears streaming down my face. "I gave up promotions for him," I said, as we watched the album burn. "I put my career on hold while he pursued his MBA. I supported him through job changes and career crises. I cooked and cleaned and planned our future. I was a good wife. What did I do wrong, Amanda? What made me so easy to replace?" "Nothing," she said firmly. "This is not about you being replaceable. This is about him being a coward and a cheat. This is about his failures, not yours." I did not sleep that night. As the sun rose, I sat in my kitchen surrounded by the anniversary dinner ingredients I had purchased, staring at my reflection in the window. The woman looking back at me seemed like a stranger. Pale, hollow-eyed, diminished. I barely recognized myself. That morning, Derek sent another text. "We'll send divorce papers soon. Don't make this difficult. No apology. No explanation. No acknowledgement of 10 years together. Just administrative details like canceling a subscription service." I showed Amanda the message and something shifted inside me. The numbness gave way to a burning anger unlike anything I had ever experienced. This man had taken my love, my trust, my time, my money, and now expected me to quietly step aside while he began his new life. The audacity of it ignited something primal within me. I will not let him walk away with everything, I said to Amanda, my voice steady for the first time in hours. As Amanda made coffee, a memory surfaced from 5 years ago. My grandmother, a survivor of 2 world wars and a terrible marriage, had taken my hands in hers and said, "A smart woman always has a backup plan, Eliza. Men come and go, but you must protect yourself first." Following her advice, I had opened a separate bank account that Derek knew nothing about transferring small amounts from each paycheck. Initially, it was meant for emergencies or perhaps a surprise anniversary trip. Over 5 years, that account had grown to nearly $300,000. I also remembered the safe deposit box I had rented after my father died. It contained not only his will and my inheritance documents, but also copies of all our major financial records, tax returns, property deeds, investment statements, business contracts. I had maintained this organization out of professional habit, never imagining I would need these documents to protect myself from my own husband. While Amanda called in sick to work to stay with me, I made 2 important phone calls. The first was to Jessica Winters, reputed to be the best divorce attorney in our state. Her hourly rate was astronomical, but her reviews from women in similar situations to mine were glowing. She took my cheating ex to the cleaners. One review read, "Best money I ever spent." Jessica agreed to see me that afternoon. Before the meeting, I gathered every piece of financial evidence I could find. Bank statements showing Derek's excessive spending on Sydney, emails about the Miami trip, screenshots of the text message announcing his departure, and records of my contributions to our joint assets. I also printed Sydney's social media posts, documenting their affair, complete with timestamps, proving it had been ongoing for months. Jessica listened to my story without interruption, occasionally making notes. When I finished, she looked up with determined eyes. "Mrs. Peterson, what your husband has done is not just morally reprehensible but legally actionable. Emptying your joint account constitutes financial misconduct that any judge will recognize. The fact that he admitted it in writing is frankly a gift to us." She outlined a strategy that made my heart race with vindication. First, we would file emergency orders to freeze all marital assets, preventing Derek from selling or transferring anything else. Next, we would document his abandonment and adultery as grounds for a favorable settlement. Finally, we would petition for both alimony and a disproportionate division of assets based on his misconduct. That same day, I took several more protective actions. I froze our joint credit cards and removed Derek as an authorized user on my personal cards. I changed all my passwords and secured my personal email accounts. I contacted our investment advisor to place a temporary hold on any transactions involving our retirement accounts. I gathered irreplaceable personal items like family photos and heirlooms and moved them to Amanda's house for safekeeping. Then I sent Derek a text message. "Good luck. You will need it." Nothing more. Within an hour, Jessica had filed emergency orders with the court. By that evening, Derek could no longer access our investment accounts, use our credit cards, or make changes to our property without court approval. The bank was notified about the fraudulent withdrawal from our joint account, starting the process of potentially recovering those funds. I also took one additional step that Jessica approved wholeheartedly. I emailed Derek's boss, copying the HR department with screenshots of Sydney's social media posts. Many showed them together during work hours and at company events. I noted that as a 20-year-old intern, Sydney fell under Derek's direct supervision, creating a clear ethics violation, according to the company policy manual, which I helpfully attached to the email. 3 days after Derek's text message, I received the first frantic phone call from him. I did not answer. He left a voicemail filled with profanity and threats, demanding to know what I had done. 6 more calls followed, each more desperate than the last. Finally, I texted him Jessica's contact information with the message: "All communication must go through my attorney from now on." 2 weeks later, Derek's new life was crumbling around him. His company had placed him on unpaid leave pending an investigation into his relationship with Sydney. The bank had frozen the money he had withdrawn from our joint account after determining it constituted financial fraud. His credit cards were declined when he tried to pay the Miami hotel bill. And Jessica had served him with divorce papers, demanding 75% of marital assets plus alimony. His response came in the form of a late-night phone call that I recorded on Jessica's advice. "Eliza, baby, we need to talk." He slurred, obviously intoxicated. "This is all a big misunderstanding. Sydney means nothing to me. It was a mistake. I want to come home." "Where is Sydney now?" I asked calmly. A pause. "She left. Said this was too much drama." Another pause. "I made a terrible mistake. Please, can we work this out without lawyers?" "No," I said, and hung up. The next day I received a text from a number I did not recognize. "This is Sydney. I did not know Derek was married when we started dating. He told me he was divorced. I am so sorry for the pain this has caused you. I have ended the relationship and am returning to California." I forwarded the message to Jessica without responding. One more piece of evidence showing Derek's deception. Over the following weeks, Derek attempted every manipulation tactic possible. He sent flowers that I returned. He tried visiting our house only to find the locks changed and a security camera recording his every move. He left tearful voicemails about our history together, then angry messages blaming me for overreacting. He even enlisted his mother to call me, pleading for reconciliation. Nothing moved me. Through it all, I maintained my resolve, focusing on rebuilding my life. I returned to work, explaining my situation to my sympathetic boss. I joined a support group for women going through divorce. I started seeing a therapist to process the betrayal and loss. Slowly, I began to imagine a future without Derek, one where I made decisions based solely on my own needs and desires. 4 months after that text message, we had our day in court. Derek arrived looking haggard and desperate, a shadow of the confident man who had left me. The judge reviewed our case with visible disapproval toward Derek, particularly regarding the emptied bank account and admission of infidelity. The final judgment awarded me 70% of our marital assets, the house, and substantial alimony for 5 years. Derek was ordered to repay the entire amount he had taken from our joint account plus interest and penalties. As we left the courthouse, Derek attempted one last appeal. "Eliza, please. I have nothing left. The company fired me. Sydney is gone. My reputation is ruined. Where am I supposed to go from here?" I looked at the man I had loved for a decade, feeling nothing but a distant pity. "That sounds like a you problem, Derek. Good luck." The 2 years following my divorce taught me more about myself than the previous 30 years combined. The initial victory in court provided satisfaction but not healing. That came much more slowly through deliberate work and difficult reflection. The first 6 months were the hardest. Despite having my financial security intact and even improved, I struggled with profound loneliness. The house felt too large, too empty. I would catch myself setting 2 places at dinner, or turning to share a thought with someone no longer there. Nights were the worst, filled with questions about what I could have done differently, whether I had somehow contributed to the failure of my marriage. My therapist, Dr. Marshall, helped me recognize these thoughts as part of the grieving process, rather than accurate reflections of reality. "You are not mourning the loss of Derek," she explained during one session. "You are mourning the loss of the future you thought you would have. There is a difference." Gradually, I began rebuilding. I joined a hiking group that met every Saturday morning, forcing myself out of the house and into nature. I reconnected with college friends I had lost touch with during my marriage. I redecorated the house, removing every trace of Derek and creating spaces that reflected only my preferences. I adopted a rescue dog, Max, who became my constant companion. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I made a decision that changed everything. Using part of my settlement, I opened my own accounting firm specializing in financial planning for women. My first clients were other divorcees referred by my support group women who, like me, needed to rebuild their financial confidence after having partners control or mismanage their money. The business grew rapidly, far exceeding my expectations. Within 18 months, I had hired 2 additional accountants and moved into proper office space. My specialty became helping women establish financial independence, whether they were married, divorced, or single. I taught workshops at community centers about financial literacy, focusing particularly on protective measures and emergency planning. My personal healing progressed alongside my professional success. Dr. Marshall helped me process my anger, which eventually gave way to indifference. The day I realized I had gone 24 hours without thinking about Derek once felt like crossing an invisible finish line. I learned about Derek occasionally through mutual acquaintances. After the divorce, he moved to a smaller city, took a lower-paying job, and struggled to rebuild his career. Sydney never returned, and according to rumor, he had accumulated significant debt trying to maintain the lifestyle he had promised her. His parents sold their retirement home to help him financially. Sometimes I felt a flicker of satisfaction at these reports, but mostly I felt nothing at all. Last month, I received an unexpected email from Derek. I know I have no right to contact you, but I wanted to say I am sorry. Not for getting caught, or for the consequences, but for betraying someone who loved me completely. I was selfish and cruel. You deserved better. I hope you have found happiness. I read the message twice, searching for any emotional response within myself. There was none. No anger, no vindication, no satisfaction. Just peaceful detachment. I deleted the email without responding, and took Max for a long walk in the sunshine, grateful for the life I had built from the ashes of betrayal. Today marks 3 years since that text message that ended and ultimately transformed my life. The woman I am now barely resembles the one who stood in her kitchen arranging anniversary roses. I am stronger, wiser, more compassionate toward myself and others who have survived betrayal. I still believe in love, but I also believe in preparing for storms and having not just emotional but financial and practical safeguards. If my story resonates with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Have you ever had to rebuild your life after betrayal? How did you find your strength? Leave a comment below sharing your experience or any questions you might have about protecting yourself financially in relationships. Do not forget to subscribe for more stories of resilience and transformation, and like this video if it offered you any comfort or insight. Remember, the end of one chapter is just the beginning of another, often more beautiful story. Thank you for listening, and may you always find the strength to write your own happy ending.